At this time, the farmhouse was being renovated and a new bungalow was being built on the farm. We also stayed at the farm for several weeks, ploughing and getting ready for the handover of the farm in October. Also during this time, the corn harvest and potato picking was going on at Wooden Ferrers, so it was a busy time. All the farm machinery had to be transported to Saxham, some 70 miles away. And this is what I wrote about how we were going to get the combine up to Saxham. The governor thought he had a plan. He'd drive the combine to Saxham. It was only 70 miles away, could easily do it in a day, change the gearing to use on the road, header on a trail, real long load, dummy run up the Holbridge Road, swaying side to side, people scared for their lives. That was the end of that adventure. He takes it on a proper transporter. It was amazing how things moved on in such a hurry. Before I knew, I was out of a job and I had to do something. Len King, son of Reg, who I spoke of earlier at Lower Wyburns Farm, was driving a drop on a building site and he was going back on the farm. I applied for his job and got it. It was totally different from farming, but I didn't mind doing it. I stayed there for about a year, but farming was in my blood. In the meantime, Mr. Vasackley had had some sort of heart problem and had been hospitalised. I visited him when he came out and he asked me to come to Saxham and help him run the farm. I accepted, and in September of 1960 I arrived at Lower Farm, Saxham to help him be in charge of the farm. And I wrote this in response to it. Lower Farm. A callow youth, not 21, from Essex to Suffolk I did come. It I thought would do no harm to come and work at Lower Farm. I lived as family in the house with Fizz and Chris and Jane and Mouse. Billy too, sometimes a pest. He gave poor Lit so little rest. The Cridlands, Toolbox, Bill and Ben. Later it was Pete with Pen. Toolbox from his Suffolk quarter. When things went wrong his eyes took to water. Ben, a keeper, gentle soul, said Bill was okay catching a mole. Peter kept the muck at bay. His wife would say, I'm lovely every day. The pigs were fed twice every day, then the muck was cleared away. We ploughed, cultivate and sow, then the new crops would grow. In the field the work was done, now we waited for the sun. We dug the ditch and trimmed the hedge, watched the pheasants as they fledged. The harvest now would be done, and I'd get to drive the 21. It was a great big red iron beast. I'm sure I liked it the very least. It would spew out clouds of dust. It was so old and would often bust. No cab or hydraulics, it was in bad fettle. It was a heap of old scrap metal. The sugar beet, one wet year, we couldn't get machinery near. So by chance, out of nowhere, two men from Ireland did appear. They knocked and chopped the sugar beet, they threw them into a big heap. They were travellers and itinerate, and often got quite inebriate. Once when they'd had a jar, they urinated in the policeman's car. They slept behind the stable door on palliasses made of straw, and as they came they went away like puffs of smoke on a windy day. The only thing to say they came were the empty bottles on the lane. So in my memories of callow youth, there I think I have the proof. It really did no harm to come and work at Lower Farm.